Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is the Friday free for all, and we're all here, all for one and one for all. Woo! It is Friday. I got a good one here. You're going to love this. Wake up, Darcy T. There's a super flu out there. In fact, I heard about it from someone at one of my jobs today. He said, hey, my mom's got the super flu. I'm like, super flu, huh? Tell me about it. Well, in 45 states, the super flu is surging. Doctors' visits are reaching a 30-year high for the super flu. Ooh, man, have you heard about the super flu? Do you have the super flu? Do you want the super flu? Well, I mean, if you look back at history, historically, COVID, remember that, COVID-19? It was less deadly than an average flu. So why is this super flu not another global pandemic? Is that a fair question? I think it is, right? Oh, well, we'll try this on for size. It's probably not a flu at all. You know what it could be? It could be people with weakened immune systems from taking all of the Jim Jones juice, the mRNA, and all the juice boosters. And that's making people succumb to any coronavirus, aka common cold. If you've got a weakened immune system, everything can become deadly. That's the problem with AIDS, autoimmune deficiency syndrome. What is autoimmune deficiency syndrome? It's your body's immune system shutting down. So you can be killed by anything that is a flu, a virus, a bacteria, whatever. That's what this is. As far as I'm concerned, it's people's immune system shutting down. And whose immune system shut down first? The old, the weak, already sick, right? The infirm. I feel bad. I feel terrible. I really do. But here we are, folks, the super flu. But we're not going to call it a pandemic. We're just going to let people start dying. I'm not happy about that. I've got a special surprise. It showed up quicker than originally thought. It is the return of the Board of Truth to the Prepared Mind channel. That's right, folks. Board of Truth. Here it is. Let me get it in the screen. Right there. Pow. Now, why Board of Truth? Why is it important? First off, years ago, other people had whiteboards. I called ours the Board of Truth. And then other people started kind of duplicating that and calling their stuff Board of Truth. And I thought, just give me a little credit. That's all. No money. You don't have to put my face on your cup of coffee. Just hey. Anyways, why the Board of Truth? Well, visual learning increases understanding and actual retention of information. We all learn different ways. In high school, I could not learn just by listening to people. I had to learn and see some visual stuff. Later in life, not so much. Now I'm just kind of an audio guy. But still, that's what it's about. It's about giving an additional way to help information pass to people so they can remember it and process it and understand it and retain it. Number two, I'm going to reclaim my invention of the name. The Board of Truth is a Prepared Mind creation, damn it. And we created it back in the 20-teens. Number three, have fun with topics. It's fun to do the Board of Truth. I just have to remember, well, how did I use it? So I came up with an example, of course, because pictures speak thousands of words. So the Board of Truth lesson for the day is this. This is not Israel. This is the United States of America. This is John's state right down here called Florida. Now, if you go across the Atlantic Ocean, and there's Africa and there's Europe up there, okay? You got Europe up high and Africa here. You go all the way across the Mediterranean. There's this little piece of land here it's black. That is Israel, not all of Africa, not Europe, just this little teeny speck. How does that little black speck control the United States of America? How does Israel control not Israel? And this map doesn't even have Alaska or Greenland. They do it with money. They do it with extortion, bribery, drugs, pedophilia. That's why the Epstein list can't come out, because Epstein, his island is right down here in the Caribbean, right down there I think it's in the Bahamas, or maybe it's down there somewhere in the Caribbean. Anyways, yep. They fly people from here down to there, way down in the Caribbean, and they have them have sex with kids and take drugs, while Israel gets film of it, and then they use that film to tell Washington, D.C., do what we say. That's what a lot of people believe. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, because I'm not on the list. It's never been offered to me, and, there you have it. Anyways, the Board of Truth is back. I don't know if it's going to work into every presentation, but it could. It could. It is the Free for All Friday. I want to hear what you have to say. Let's do the shotgun style, Mr. Uman. Let's have some fun with it. I covered the super flu and the Board of Truth. I wanted to put the size of Israel up compared to where we're at and its location on the planet, because a lot of people don't know, where is Israel? How big is Israel? How can such a tiny little nation control our giant, powerful, super huge nuclear weapon military nation? I tell you, it's a great question, is it not? Is it not? All right, Mr. Uman, let's see. What do we want to do? Let's do one from the crowd, shall we? It is a Friday free-for-all. Let's start off with Diving Frog. And he says, John, Bill Singer is the Zionist that will benefit from Venezuela oil. That's right. Yesterday, someone said, hey, who benefits from the Venezuelan oil? And I said, there's a guy in New York City who's got a nice nose and a very detectable face phenotype. He's a billionaire on Wall Street. His name is Bill Singer. I believe he bought Citgo. I believe it was Citgo Oil Company. Perfect timing. I think he bought it just a couple months ago, kind of like Larry Silverstein got a lease for the Twin Towers. And he got a couple $1 billion in insurance, and they just happened to blow up Larry Silverstein's buildings. And why did he get the money? I still don't understand that. Why did he get the money from an insurance? He's just basically a lessee. And in any event, that's old. We don't need to be looking back that far. I mean, that's ancient history. We don't need to look back that far, unless you're talking about the Holocaust, and then you better look back that far. All right, let's continue if we shall. Thank you, Mr. Diving Frog. Let us continue if we shall. I don't know if you're aware of it, but down in Argentina, fires are raging through their beautiful national forests. And they tried blaming the local indigenous population for trying to burn and destroy their own forests. That got swept aside very quick. But like California, they're letting the forests burn. This is tragic, and it's disgusting, and it's awful. And it looks like Javier Milei, the president, has pulled a Trump. He's pulled a Trump somehow. Now, we'll finish with the rest of the story, and then maybe you can put 1 and 3 together. So, allegedly, and it's being widely reported, that there are Israeli tourists who are down there, and they've been caught starting fires. Some people are saying they're IDF because they found Israeli, demolition grenades, right, that start fires. They found several of them. How interesting is that? And on the other side, it now looks like the land is being is being able to be put up for sale. Remind you of Maui, anyone? right? So the president there, Mr. Milei, Javier Milei, who is the chainsaw, apparently is being accused of selling out to Israel, and that he is an Israeli. He went to the wall, wore the funny little hat, right? And he's changing rules so real estate developers can buy the burnt forests, and then they can get permits, new use permits on what was once these pristine national forests. It's just a chin scratcher. Like, how many coincidences do we need to see in this all of a sudden? Just a big fat wow, folks. What is going on in the world? What is going on in the world? When is the world going to wake up? Like, we're awake, but every day I learn more stuff, more facts, more theories, more ideas, more pieces and particles and chips. And, it's painting a picture that's pretty big and obvious. In fact, I think the picture is becoming so obvious that it's going to get out of hand. Now, yesterday we talked about the woman who was shot. She was interfering with Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, Border Patrol, Department of Homeland Security, and she appeared to flee a scene, sped off, and it looked like she turned her wheel to the right, and then she was shot. Well, it's kind of, we got some couple of stories, some more information, and, Sheriff Grady Judd weighed in. We got some straight talk here, right? He says it's simple math, right? Here's his quote. If you violently assault police with a 2-ton weapon, expect to be shot. So I watched this accident several more times, and it appears that the officer was hit by the vehicle hard. And it's the same officer, I guess, was hit and drugged several weeks ago in another incident. So upon review from many angles and listening to many witnesses, the driver was shot while running into an ICE agent. Tragic, definitely. Did I want this person to die? Of course not. Was this problem, the whole situation, avoidable? Yeah. Right? If there's a cop standing in front of you and you know they're a cop, you don't get to run them over. Right? And if there's one next to your vehicle, you don't turn into them and then, anyways, it's tragic. It was avoidable. But law enforcement has been run over frequently by terrorists and criminals. By the way, we the people, me and you, we also need to be able to defend ourselves the exact same way, right? If someone's going to try and run me over, I have a right to defend myself. And on the flip side, if I'm being threatened with a criminal threat to my life and the people in my vehicle, I can run over the threat in an effort to escape, right? In other words, self-defense works always, both ways, whether you're law enforcement or civilian. Self-defense works whether you're standing outside a car or you're inside a car, right? I can run over a threat in an effort to escape if they stand in front of me while attempting to accost and kill me. Moral of the story, be smarter. That's it, be smarter. And to support my claim, right? In Portland, Oregon, federal agents shot 2 people affiliated with the Venezuelan drug murder gang Tren de Araguay because the driver of the vehicle tried to run over law enforcement. This is not uncommon anymore, people trying to run over cops. Now, if I were a cop, knowing that people are willing to run me over, I am going to be smarter and not stand in front of a fucking vehicle and try and stop them. That's just stupid. You don't stand in front of a fucking vehicle if people are a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? Why would you do that? You're putting your own life at risk for what? Right? You can get their fucking license plate. You got a chest camera to get their license plate. You can get them later, right? It's not worth dying to catch one of these fuckheads, even though it certainly is nice. At the same time, are you willing to stand in front of a car that wants to run your ass over? I don't think it's very smart of the cops. Get the hell out of the way, right? Whatever happened to shoot the tires? Anyways, we can't do that, John. Okay. But still, yeah, cops are getting run over, attempted to be run over. They're getting smashed. Be smarter applies to law enforcement. Come on. I appreciate the valor and effort and all that bravery and stuff. Get the fuck out of the way. Just wow. The whole thing. They're trying to lead us into a violent confrontation. The only way to survive that is to not get shot and killed. Be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and of course, have a plan. Have a plan. Okay, it is Friday free-for-all, which means we're going to go back and forth. And who's your life? Checks in. Who's your daddy? And he says, lots of new videos of Minnesota facts or artificial intelligence. You know, I'm going to tell you what, Hoosier. I'm going to call it facts. Not to say that someone taking one of those and doing some AI with it is possible. It can be done possibly to make the driver look worse. It can be done possibly to make the cops look worse. You know, before I get into more of what you're saying here, I sat down at a board meeting this morning, and someone across the table said something about only an idiot doesn't believe there was a moon landing, something like that, right? And I said, really? Tell me how you know. They said, well, up on the moon, there's with a powerful telescope, they can see the landing sites. And they have a mirror up there that they can shine a laser and it'll shine back. And I said, did you look through this telescope and see it yourself? And then I said, you know, I saw this movie where this alien, pow, 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 came out of the chest and killed the person, right? That looked pretty real too. AI, artificial intelligence, right? Can't trust anything anymore. Anyway, some other smart person at the table jumped in and said, what makes you think that there's not some natural reflective surface up there that they discovered, and said, yeah, that's where they landed. Right, exactly. We don't trust them. Anyways, we're not going to get into the fake moon landing issue. We're going to get back to lots of new videos of Minnesota facts or artificial intelligence. These days, especially with these fucking protesters, everybody has their camera out and they're filming everything. So we should have a dozen different angles that this was filmed from. And then the police, all law enforcement, have a body cam. So we should have lots of different angles from them. So that's why it's easy for me to believe, yeah, there's tons of videos. They've all made their way into the internet. We need to start questioning them, and is when some super sleuth, and it won't be me, but some super sleuth will take every video and put them all next to each other and make sure they're all synced and make sure they're all doing the exact same thing and one of them isn't grossly exaggerated. Any way you look at it, folks, it's a shitty situation. They're having lots of violence down there. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. But the law enforcement is arresting violent, idiotic protesters. Now, there's a picture going around also, and it was shared on the Prepared Mind inner circle, the our syndicate circle, and it was of a government agent. I don't know which branch or rather which bureaucracy he worked for, but he's all in camouflage, and he's got a what appears to be an MP5 type gun, right? And he's holding it, and right in front of him, not 3 feet away, is a black man with his hands up like, ah! And the picture was snapped as the guy's like holding his gun, and the black guy's like, ah! And they're like, see, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement is pointing their weapons. They're terrorizing people. They're threatening them. They're, trying to kill everybody. Turns out that is exactly what the media does. The left-wing media, the asinine protester groups, the Democrats. Guess what the situation was? This cop was standing there, this agent, this officer, and this guy walked up and tried grabbing his weapon. And when he couldn't get it, he backed off like this. And the guy's like holding it up. Additionally, the weapon isn't a gun. It was a pepper ball, tear gas, ball gun. In other words, non-lethal. It wasn't a real gun, and that guy wasn't innocent. He just committed what I would like to call assault and attempted theft. To me, that makes a little more sense as to what this picture. But you take the picture, you take it out of context, you report a story that you want people to believe. Propaganda. Oh, yeah. How about that, huh? Propaganda. Now, does propaganda work? Yes, I think it does. Does propaganda miseducate people? Yeah, it sure does. And if you're a Democrat and you're suffering from brain damage because you took too much mRNA vaccine, is it going to be even more effective? The answer is yes. And I have a gold star example of indoctrination of Democrats, propagandized Democrats, and possibly brain damaged Democrats. None other than big fat ass looking alien Whoopi Goldberg, from The View. She's asking the question why NATO hasn't rescued America from Trump. Yeah, that's a good one. Yes, folks, she is that stupid. But why or how did she become that stupid? Why? She's a Democrat. Why is she that stupid? Well, because she's subject to indoctrination. Propaganda. Or is it the vax eating away her brains? You see, NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization that was developed to counter world communism. I'm pretty sure Trump isn't a communist state. He's an individual. He's the elected president. And he's not attacking America or any other NATO country. They're that stupid, folks. That stupid. A friend of mine was had a problem with a work associate. That work associate was a Democrat. And I listened to 5 minutes of argument. The rational, reasonable person saying, that's not what I'm asking for. This is what we're trying to do. And the person was attacking them. Rawr, 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 rawr. Well, you can just quit or we can just fire you. And she's like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this thing, you can't argue with them. You can't reason with them. It's kind of like a Terminator, right? They don't listen. They can't think. They can't reason. You can't bargain with them. Their role in this is just to kill us all. And I think that's probably an honest assessment. All right, let's have some fun. Mr. Uman, who do we want to put up next on this Friday free-for-all? And it's Uman himself. And he says, they sure are trying to kick off another summer of love. Buddy love. Yeah, they are. Uman says they have now set up a no-go zone like the Chaz. Chaz was the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle. Not Capitol Hill in Washington, Capitol Hill in Seattle. The one in Washington, that's the Capitol Hill. It's not much of a hill if you've ever lived any place that has hills. But in Seattle, they had an area of the city called Capitol Hill. Yeah, they blocked off, get this, they blocked off the roads with pallets. In other words, they've made a wall. Yes, once again, they put up a wall to keep the cops out. It's a no-go zone. To keep ICE out, it's a no-go zone. So the wall has been created to protect the illegal immigrants who can run behind the wall. So illegal immigrants that have snuck over, under, around, through the wall at the southern border are now hiding behind a wall because walls on the border are racist, but walls in Minnesota are good. Kind of like the walls around Nancy Pelosi's property. Mm-hmm. Yep, walls and fences, they're great. Like walls around the Vatican. Vatican City has walls. They're like 50 fucking feet tall. And then the Pope says the United States should have open border, give all our fucking money away. Fuck you, Pope. In fact, I'm continuing to see priests, cardinals, nuns come out and say the Pope is basically the devil, right? Just like foosball's from the devil. The Pope is from the devil. Anyways, yeah, they're trying to kick off the summer of love. I think the theory that has been put forward that it's an election year. It is 2026, and at the end of 2026, on the first Tuesday of November, we will be having a midterm election where we elect congressmen, senators, state assemblymen, and, of course, local ballot initiatives and state ballot initiatives. Not a presidential election, hence the designation off year election, just meaning it's not the president's election, but they're going to have it anyways. Now, we have this nice young lady who's very attractive, by the way. Yeah, she got an ugly streak in her and a stupid streak. Confronts, interferes with, obstructs, is a complete bitch, tries running over an agent or running through them, gets shot, gets killed, dies leaning to the right in her car. One of the few times she's done anything leaning to the right. But, a liberal white lesbian isn't going to get the same reaction that a drug dealing, drugged up, counterfeiting piece of felonious shit named St. George Floyd. They're not going to get the fight, but they're trying. They're really trying to push it off. The trouble I think they're going to have, Mr. Uman, is looking at the date. It is January 9th. January 9th. It's fucking cold. It's cold. People don't want to come out and protest when it's so cold that you'll freeze to death. And if you piss on a fence, you're going to get stuck, right? Anyways, I really think that we need to have a Democrat challenge. Someone needs to create a Democrat challenge, you man, where we challenge the Democrats to put their tongue on a frozen pole, right? Somehow Trump says, don't do that. We've got to get that out there. Attention, Democrats. Trump is telling you to not stick your tongue on a lamppost, a fence post, or any metal object if it's below 20 degrees. That's probably where he gets his superpowers. That's probably where Trump gets all of his energy. That's probably where he gets his patriarchal masculine toxicity. So if you have to battle him, that's what he's saying is don't put your tongue on a pole. In fact, I was just on the phone with Trump. Mr. President, I will. Yeah, we're going to tell everyone, all the Democrats, do not put your tongue on a pole in under 20-degree temperatures. Okay, good deal. Anyways, all you have to do is tell them Trump said to do it or not do it, and they'll do the opposite. Friday free for all. I hope you are all happy, healthy, and going to get some rest and have a nice weekend. We will be here Sunday night live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to have a 2-hour show as usual and talk about all the shit that's coming up. And here we go. Thank you for that one, Mr. Uman. And what do I have next? Something interesting. Now, as I've said before, this is not a religious channel. I'm a Christian. I'm a white guy. I'm of European descent. How about that? No surprises there. But apparently the world is returning to its moral and religious roots in the world of, Europeans. In England, or rather the United Kingdom, which includes Ireland and Scotland and Wales, Bible sales have surged, risen 134% in Britain, a record level, because Gen Z is moving or flocking to Christianity. It's people are doing the opposite. They're like, tell all of the white people they need to be exterminated. Yeah, white people need to be exterminated. We're hearing that from people from other countries and other cultures and other religions. Okay, well, we're going to have pride in ourselves now. Foreigners and all these evil scum are driving conservative, moral people to defend ourselves. That's what they're doing. Is they're attacking us. We're like, well, how come you can have a black community, Asian community, you can have an indigenous community, you can have an African community, you can have a Muslim community, you can have a Jewish community, you can have all these communities. But if you are a white person and you say we need a white community, we have white pride, we have white culture. In fact, they all say we don't have culture. Just unfucking believable, right? Us conservative, moral people, we need to stop, for the love of God, stop being inclusive. Stop including these people, right? I mean, a fucking vampire comes to the door. Who is it? It's Mr. Vampire. Oh, I don't like vampires. You need to be inclusive. Oh, in that case, let me open the door and invite in the vampire, right? He bites your fucking neck. He's trying to suck your blood. Get out. You throw him out. They knock again. It's like, no, I've learned my lesson. I'm not inclusive. I'm not intolerant, and I'm not going to forgive all the evil shit you've done in the past, you're doing now, and you're promising to do in the future. All of these fucking Muslims, all of these, the Musraelis, any religion that isn't Christian, right? The Middle Eastern religions, forget it. All they do is call for the death and genocide of white people, Europeans, European culture, European descended, people, European laws. If you don't like us, get the fuck out of our countries. Canada, America, Europe, all of it, Australia, get the fuck out. But they're not there. They're not going to go back to their countries. They want to be in our countries because, well, I think white culture, white science, white intelligence, white morals, white law and order, that whether you're white, black, Asian, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. You work with, enjoy the benefits of that. We all do. We all learn through it and learn because of it and learn to use it and live peacefully amongst each other. All the people from the outside want to come in. They want to scrape all of our money out of the government they can to enrich themselves and allow themselves to live here while they overpopulate, and take over. That's the whole point and purpose. They're parasites. If you claim that you're from Africa, your ancestors, and that's the greatest place on earth, please, by all means, go fix Africa. It's still kind of fucked up. I'll allow you to return. I'm not going to get in your way and impede you. Same with the South Americans. Get the fuck out of America if you don't want to be like Americans. Middle Easterners, Northern Africans, all gone. Right? I'm tired of being inclusive, tolerant, and forgiving of all this evil and these other religions which are fucking evil and these other attitudes which are calling for death. I mean, if you're conservative, right, meaning you want law and order and respect for others, doesn't matter if you're just white like me or Uman or whether you're black or Asian or indigenous, they'll kill you. Funny stuff. The lady that got shot, by the way, doesn't realize that as a lesbian, if these people she's trying to keep hidden in the country take over, they'll drag her up to the top of a building and throw her right the fuck off it to her death because they don't allow homosexuality. But these homosexuals are that stupid. Indoctrination, propaganda. Didn't we just go over this a minute ago? Wow. All right, Mr. Uman, let's change subjects. What is coming out of the audience? Who has something to say? And it's C checking in. And writes, I usually learn through severe pain and injury. Just saying. I learned when I was a child or a teenager that there's two ways to learn. You can learn from your own mistakes, pain and injury, or I can learn from other people's mistakes. Holy shit, did you just see what that dumbass did? Whoops-a-daisy, that hurt. I don't want to do that. And so as a father, oh yeah, you poor liberal sons of bitches, there's two more of me out there with lots more coming. I taught my sons that. You can learn from your own mistakes, which you're going to do, but it would also be advisable to learn from other people's mistakes. Like, don't be a fucking communist. Okay, anyways, severe pain and injury. I recommend it at your age, C, which I'm sure is beyond that of a teenager. Severe pain and injury. Now, understanding that most people, they don't learn the hard lessons, right? I don't want to brag because I don't know if this is really bragging, but at my age and my life experience, like many of you, I've been put through a lot of pain, financial pain, psychological pain, physical pain, right? In the lines of work that I've chosen and in life decisions I've made. Pain, lots of pain I've learned from it. A lot of people don't live the type of life that people like me have, from being a Marine, working in construction, racing dirt bikes, racing street bikes, getting in fights, getting stabbed, shot, run over, dragged, beat, kicked, stomped, bum rushed by a gang of people. I've learned that pain sucks. A lot of people out there haven't. These are the people that say, we want these illegals here. Oh, it's so nice. There's pain. They're stealing our money. That puts us in financial pain. They're saying we're the bad ones. White people need to die. Conservatives need to die. That's psychological pain. And then there's the physical pain. Little girls, little boys being beaten up, being kidnapped, being raped, being murdered. Adults being beaten up, kidnapped, robbed, raped, and murdered. That's severe pain. That's severe injury. That's psychological. That's financial. That's what these illegals, these foreigners, these non-moral people who do not have the benefit of the European and European descendant cultures, traditions, and laws. I hate to say it's white, but Europe is inhabited largely by white people when it became civilized. The United States of America was founded by white people who were civilized and educated and wanted to educate people. And anyone who came in under that, regardless of color, benefited. Even Native Americans. And I've talked to them. Tribal Business Council member sat down and goes one day, goes, man, I don't want to go back. I need white culture. This is what he told me. He goes, I don't want to start eating, fucked up rabbits and acorns and shit. Fuck that. White culture is awesome. I got a nice car, a nice house, a nice job. I got money. What the fuck do I want to go back to that shit for, right? Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's just being honest, right? Anyways, great topic there. Let's see. What do we want to go back to now? Oh, okay. Russian military response. These are not my words. This comes from another report from somebody, and I'm going to let them be anonymous. Russia has attacked and destroyed Europe's largest underground gas storage facility. They used one of their hypersonic Orezhnik missiles to slam and destroy a gas storage facility. It's called at the Triori site in the Lviv region. It's an attack on Ukraine, and it's also a damage to the European energy structure, right? Because all that gas is taken and it's pumped into Europe. Now, Europe cannot get mad and go, see, Russia's bad. They attacked our gas system, right? We need that energy to stay warm. Well, wasn't it a Ukrainian who's been arrested, which is a joke, for blowing up the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines? Yeah, it was not some lunatic Ukrainian. No, he may have been on the ship helping, but it was the CIA, it was Mossad, it was the British. They blew it up. You don't blow up something at the bottom of the sea that you can't see or even know where it's at with explosives that have to be very, very specialized. Anyways, the attack is Do Stuff with Nikki says they're using Orezhnik now. They wanted to finally speak a language everyone will listen to. Well, that's an interesting statement there, Nikki. One of the things I've always said, and even when I was in Lodge, I would talk to veterans, and veterans would say, the only thing people from the Middle East understand is the sword or violence. That's all they understand, right? They don't learn by watching the example of others. They only learn through extreme pain, violence. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? The people in the Middle East, when they don't get their way, when they don't like someone else, do they know how to negotiate? No. They use violence. They use terrorism. So now Putin is using a language. Now, not only did they attack him personally and try to assassinate him, the Ukrainians, by sending fucking drones in and bombing his residence. They bombed using drones and attacked other Russians again just the other day. This is a response. It's a new level of escalation. And now the West has witnessed the Orezhnik hypersonic missile in action. This is the second time they've used it, but this time they used it on critical civilian energy infrastructure. The strike hit right next to a NATO facility also, which was a nice visual warning to Poland and the rest of Europe. Now, because of that, Ukraine has to buy gas. This was a huge tank reserves that they could buy in off seasons when the price is lower. Now they get to buy winter spot market prices, which it goes at a peak because it's winter. It's in demand. And this storage capacity. Yeah, other European Union countries store their gas there, so they all lose. You want to support Ukraine? Ukraine tries to assassinate Putin? Hey, be careful who you put on your team, right? The loss of winter reserves cannot be quickly replaced. No. They're going to have industrial shutdowns. They're going to have inflation. It's going to affect their economy. Loss of confidence in Europe, loss of confidence in NATO, loss of confidence in the World Economic Forum, who pulls the strings. It goes far beyond just the loss of the gas. You also have reconstruction costs, and that's going to affect the entire European economy. But the message lets Europe, Ukraine, let's Washington, D.C. know. No place is safe. There is no sanctuary. You cannot see this missile coming. You cannot detect it and take it down. In fact, Putin came out. And normally he's very reserved, very calm, very quiet, very precise. I still think he's being precise. But he said, hey, I tell you what, let's test your anti-missile defenses against our Orezhnik. Well, basically said he dared him. Try it again. And I don't know. I think he should. I think he should say, you guys pissed me off. You killed my people. You tried killing me. I'm going to send another one. I'm going to send it. And this is the target. And tell them the target. Tell them the target. And then hit it. Let them try and defend the target. And then see if they can. And basically, Putin says, I'm going to go after your energy infrastructure. Once again, Russia has a right to defend itself, does it not? It's not committing genocide by killing women and children by the thousands. No, that's Israel. That's Israel, I believe. Is that Israel, Uman? I'm pretty sure it's Israel. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right. It's Israel. Israel's killing women and children. Russia's not doing that, right? They're having their gas refineries, oil refineries, and their tankers captured and sunk and bombed. So he's like, fuck it. So now the entire European energy infrastructure is now got a big bullseye painted on all their locations because Putin can hit any of them anytime he wants at all. It's a mess. Let's see what else I've got here. Now I'm going to leave it at that, right? Europe is not safe. Europe is not safe. I wonder if they're going to take Putin up on his offer of, you guys fucked up. You want to go after me? I'm going to hit a target. In fact, see, if Putin was nice, he would say, I'm going to let you pick the target. All right, I'm going to give you a selection of 5, and you tell me which one you want me to take out, and I'll tell you when I'm going to fire my missile, and you try and stop it. You want to keep playing this fucking game? Right, because they're screwing with Russian tanker ships. I guess in Venezuela, a couple of Russian tankers said, fuck it, we're out, and they're just making a run for it. They're making a run for it. They're trying to outrun and get through the blockade, which is an old school technique. Try and stop me. My ship is much bigger than yours. It's a super tanker. The question I have to ask is, are they going to sink an oil tanker leaving Venezuela? Are they going to do that? I mean, it's not like they can give them a ticket. You refuse to pull over, heave to, James Bond. No. So here's the deal. Are they going to sink one? Are they going to risk sinking an oil tanker loaded and spill all that crude all over the ocean just to punish Putin? Are they going to cause that kind? I remember when the Exxon Valdez crashed in, I think it was the Port-au-Prince Sound or some shit. I can't remember. Anyways, up in Alaska. And they made that sound like the whole fucking world was going to end. It was a mess. Oil got over the rocks. It got on ducks, penguins. Oh, no, there's no penguins up there. Right? Everything was covered in oil. But now Ukraine gets to shoot, splash, sink. It's fucking ridiculous. They're all a bunch of lying fucking hypocrites. All right, that was your topic. I'm going to go to my topic. And I have a quote of the day. I'm going to take this one. This one didn't come from Mr. Skylight, but it's in the spirit of Mr. Skylight. Quote of the day. Here it is. The poison was never forced. It was offered gently until you forgot it was poison at all. That was from Mark Twain. Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens. The poison was never forced. It was offered gently until you forgot it was poison at all. Well, does that apply? I say, yeah, that does apply. It applies to vaccines, food dyes, artificial sweetener, fluoride, artificial fragrances, preservatives, artificial flavors, vegetable oils, so on and so forth. Should I keep going on? All of these things are poisonous, toxic, deadly, disastrous, carcinogenic. Why do we keep eating, drinking, and breathing their poisons? Why? Well, because they've been in our lives forever. It was never forced. We were never forced to buy food dyes. They just offered it. Look at these bright colors on this children's cereal. No one died instantly. Right? Poison doesn't have to kill you instantly. It just makes you sick, makes you feel like shit, makes you unhealthy, may kill you earlier than you would have, give you diseases, give you cancer. We are now learning vegetable oil is no good. Years ago, I knew that anything from soy is loaded with estrogen unless you ferment it, which is soy sauce. Even then, I stay away from anything soy, which is vegetable oil. And other oils like rape seed. That sounds nice. Rape seed. Wow. And then I think there are some not vegetable oils, but some cooking oils, which are petroleum based. Anyways, everything, artificial dyes. One of my friends used to get massive migraine headaches from red food dyes. It was either red 6 or red 40. I don't know which got Mitch, but he was like, I can't eat that shit. It gives me, it would fuck him up fast. The poison was never forced. It was offered gently until you forgot it was poison at all. Vaccines. It's for polio. It's for rubella. It's for measles. It's for mumps. It don't hurt anybody. It helps you. It makes you stronger. It gives you immunity, they said. And people didn't question it. Their kids weren't dying. Now they give children booster after booster, 10, 20, all huge doses. Children go to the doctor healthy, and they come home and they get sick. They get fevers. They have shakes, epileptic seizures. They start crying and don't stop. They get sudden infant death syndrome, sometimes instantly, sometimes days later. But what a coincidence, huh? Autism. Kids quit talking, their personality change. They lose all manner. Yeah, that's great. Fluoride, it's good for your teeth. Right? Poison. And they know it, and they've known it a long time, and they kept doing it anyway, because it doesn't always just kill you. And then the Jim Jones juice, right? Thank you, Samuel Clemens. Okay, Mr. Uman, let's get one out of the audience. Uman says Trump is doubling down on acquiring Greenland, quote, whether they like it or not. I cannot support that. I don't give a fuck. Greenland never has been a United States territory or state. If we have a military base there, it's on someone else's country. I don't agree with this move. I don't like it. I understand the, how do we say this? The value, the utility, the purpose of the land, the minerals there. It's used for strategic defense purposes, but is not Canada also? And if we have a military base there and military operations and NASA operations, doesn't that serve? If we need to have satellite reconnaissance, self-defense capabilities in the northern Atlantic, why wouldn't ships be useful for that? Can't we do something like they do in the North Sea above England and over by Norway and Sweden? Can't we have anchored floating platforms that are not in someone else's territory, just in international waters? I think so. Right? There's a lot of other ways to go about doing this. So why is Trump doing this? It almost seems like a red herring, like a non sequitur, like it doesn't make sense, like it's a distraction. Notabot says, will he be king after all? Not by coincidence, in my opinion, because this was all planned by the other side in advance. Yeah, who is telling Trump this is a good idea? Who? I don't know. I do not know, but I don't think this is Trump's idea. I really don't. I think he's controlled. Because I don't think this is a good move, right? Greenland, or I should say Denmark, and by extension Greenland, are allies of the United States of America. We're all NATO members, are we not? Aren't we supposed to be all, European descended countries? What's this about? Well, I think there's a lot of different ways to go about doing this. You could do a long-term lease. But to just say we're taking it feels a little bit like the empire is striking back. I don't like it. I'm a peace-loving guy. Why couldn't we, as I suggested, have waterborne or water-based, water-located defense techniques? Why not just go a little bit to the west and ask Canada for the same thing? Can we lease some land? It's kind of a fucked up situation. I just don't get it, why there isn't a better way. I know I'm not in the White House. I don't know what the Pentagon, right? I don't know how much money he's being given to do this. I really think he's being blackmailed at this part. And it could also be extortion, right? Like the whole world is being threatened with nuclear annihilation if Trump doesn't do as the masters say. But I don't know why. I don't really understand why Denmark wants to own Greenland, because they don't seem to be doing a whole lot with it. But making them an offer of a lot of money seems like the way to go. After all, the United States of America bought the Louisiana Purchase, which more than doubled the size of the United States of America. They bought Alaska from Russia, so why not buy Greenland? Well, I guess maybe they're playing hard to want. I don't know. In any event, it's not looking good. Not looking good. Military aggression has never looked upon favorably. Let's see. Senator Jim Banks doesn't need to be sending me anything. Uman says, reports earlier today said naval vessels are heading towards Cuba. I think the USS Iwo Jima and another U.S. warship are heading to the north side of Cuba. Trump threatened to make strikes in Mexico on cartel members. How many fronts is he trying to create? I think we can look back in a relatively recent military history and see the problem with fighting on too many fronts. Hitler fought not just on the eastern and western front, but also on the southern front. He was fighting in France. He was fighting against Russia, and as well was in northern Africa. It was just too much spread too thin. Now, in defense of that, the United States of America, the military fought in both Europe and the Pacific, two fronts. War today is much more expensive. It's much more technical and technological. So I don't know if it's difficult to do. I don't know what Trump intends to do with Cuba. I know what the problem is in Mexico. It's cartel members protecting and funding President Scheinbaum. Right? Cuba? Is Cuba sending drugs over here? You see, the president can do a whole lot more and actually say something like, screw the coalition. Kind of like the Gulf War, first Gulf War. President George H.W. Bush, right? That guy. He said, hey, we got a coalition, right? They didn't just want to go in and attack. They wanted to make sure everyone understood, agreed, and was on the same side. And it was a coalition to take out and fight against and punish and remove the weapons of mass destruction that Saddam Hussein had. So we had the first Gulf War. Any government can unilaterally make military advancements, even though it can start a wider war, certainly end up with sanctions or not just criticism, but rather sanctioning and blacklisting, for lack of a better word, a country or countries for taking these sorts of military actions. The United States, being as big as it is, risks a lot, but also has a lot to its advantage. But if Trump made a better case to the people, okay, what's going on in Cuba? Well, we're tell us, show us. Mexico, tell us, show us. Don't just fucking do it and go, yeah, I'm the president, listen to me. Show the world. What is Cuba doing? What is Mexico doing? What is Venezuela doing? What is Israel doing? Oh, wait. I don't see genocide happening down in Cuba. I just see communism side. Right? I don't see genocide going on in Venezuela. I saw communism and drugs. I don't see genocide going on in Mexico, but I see drug cartels running that country through a crooked president. Show us the information. Give us enough so we can support it. Give that same information to our allies and say you can or cannot, you may or may not want to join us and help us, but this is what we're going to do. We're not going to ask your permission. These are some evil fucks. Europe, you got a problem with Israel? You got a problem with Netanyahu? You got a problem with the genocide? You guys have the same thing. Go on, go take care of it. Oh, wait a minute. Israel doesn't have nukes. So don't mess with Israel because they do not have nuclear weapons. Is the International Atomic Agency, right? Are they aware of what's all going on in Israel? Are they allowed to go in and check for weapons of mass destruction? Oh, no, they're special. They're God's chosen people. They can do whatever the fuck they want, including genocide. The world is waking up to it, folks, by the way. You know, I gave them every chance. Show me. Convince me, Israel. Convince me. And all they've done is continue to convince me that they're not very nice. In fact, they're just flat out fucking evil. I don't like any of the religions in the Middle East, my friends. I don't like any of the peoples over there that hate Christianity and hate Europe and hate America and hate us. I think it is going to come to a head, though. Right? I think it's going to come to a head. Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. It is Friday. The Friday free-for-all is now over, and I'll be back Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Prepared Mind channel, thepreparedmind.club, subscribestar.com. Thank you again. Please subscribe, share with others, hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you soon.